and welcome to Story Stash. I'm your host, Duncan, and these are some of my stories I've written that I'm reading for you. Today, I'm reading from my book called Ghost Whisperer, and this is Chapter 1. It was an evening like any other. Ed Tanner worked late on a project with impossible deadlines. He built software for a high-tech company, Disneytech, near Seattle. The sun had long since set, but he kept on working at his computer. "I'm tired. I can't see what's going wrong with this stupid code," he said aloud. "Perhaps you should go home, Ed. Tomorrow everything will become clear." Ed stood in his cubicle and looked over the wall and saw his co-worker Blake. Blake was a typical middle-aged programmer. Married, gaining too much weight, slightly bald. He enjoyed going out for lunch, perhaps too much. He got his work done, which often meant working long hours. "Perhaps I should go home. Can I tempt you with an after-work beverage?" "Not tonight, thanks. I have to get home to my wife soon, or she'll wonder where I am." "Maybe next time then," he said. Blake nodded as he typed on his computer. Ed saved his work, locked up his computer screen, and packed up his few items. The company was working on several government contracts, and he was required to protect everything. He knew of others who got fired for leaving their computer open to prying eyes. "Good night, Blake." "Good night," said Blake from the adjacent cubicle. With his work ID and keys, Ed left. Ed walked outside the office building where he worked. He looked back at the building. The lights were on where Blake worked. Ed figured Blake's wife knew where he was by now. He'd parked his car on the street nearby, as during the day the parking lot was usually full. He rarely arrived early enough in the morning to get a spot. The street was darker than the parking lot, and he walked on autopilot. Ed only paid casual attention to his surroundings, knowing where he'd parked his vehicle. This evening, he'd made a critical mistake. Suddenly, a figure appeared in front of him, causing him to stop. "Hello," said Ed. The figure said nothing. He just looked at Ed and smiled. It took Ed a moment to realize he wasn't smiling at him, but behind him. Ed began to turn and look behind him, but too late. Another person struck him on his head from behind him. It was lights out, and he crumpled to the sidewalk. Darkness. Ed was disoriented. His mind was foggy. Afterward, there was light. A bright flash shining in his eyes. Someone had pointed a flashlight at him and held his eyes open. He tried to tell them to stop, but no words came out. Finally, the lights went away, leaving him in darkness again. Ed's mind felt like a computer rebooting. No, worse, it was more like an unwanted Windows update. It takes over your computer and leaves you helpless as you watch a spinning progress indicator. All he could do was wait. Time passed. He sensed the passing of time, unable to do anything else. Finally, he opened his eyes just a small amount. Light came in, and it hurt. "Hey, this one's coming around," a voice said somewhere nearby. Said Ed. "Just lie still. We almost lost you," said the voice. This made little sense. What had happened? He lay still while they poked and prodded him. His mind cleared a little. Eventually, he fell back asleep. The next morning, Ed awoke. Nurses performed various tasks, then propped up his pillow. He discovered he was in a private room in a hospital. "How are you feeling today, Mr. Tanner?" asked the doctor who had arrived. He didn't wait for a response as he consulted a chart on the end of the bed. Ed sat quietly and waited. "You've got a nasty bump on the head, likely a concussion. Also, we almost lost you at one point. The EMTs had to resuscitate you multiple times." "That explains my presence here," said Ed. The doctor looked at the chart again. "It says your co-worker discovered you outside your workplace. He called 911. "Oh, I'll have to thank him when I see him next." After checking several things, the doctor left. The nurses also left, having completed their work for now. Sarah Manning pulled into the hospital parking lot. She parked her Honda Civic, paid for parking, and entered the hospital. Sarah worked as a detective lieutenant, working for the Seattle PD. Her assignment was to interview a mugging victim. Her heels clacked on the floor as she walked with a purpose. This job required a sergeant, but none were available. Muggings rarely led to an arrest, as victims were mostly unreliable witnesses. This was another busy work task. After her promotion to lieutenant, she hadn't found her niche with her team that supported her. Until then, she did whatever tasks came her way. She entered the elevator and pressed the button. She pressed it again until the door closed. This was taking too long. Sarah approached a nurse at the nurses' station, showed her badge, and got directions to the victim's room. Sarah entered Ed's room. She showed him her police credentials. "Ed Tanner, my name is Detective Lieutenant Sarah Manning. I was hoping you can answer a few questions for me." Ed looked at her. She was mid-30s, brunette, and impatient. "I'll try, Lieutenant." "Your co-worker discovered you face down on the sidewalk. What can you remember of the event?" "I was walking to my car when someone stepped in front of me. A moment later, another person hit me from behind. That's all I can tell you." Can you describe the person who stepped in front of you?" "It was too dark to identify them. I remember little." "Were they male or female?" "Male, middle-aged, about my height." "Did they say anything?" "No, I think they were a distraction. It worked, as I didn't see it coming." The lieutenant thought for a minute. "We believe they took your phone, your wallet, and your keys. We located your car across town. It's now in our impound yard." "That's good news, I suppose. If they got my wallet and keys, did they break into my apartment?" "We sent someone over there to check. You got off lucky there. The building super is changing the lock for you." "Good. I'll see him once I get out." "Do you know anyone who wishes you harm? Anyone with a grudge against you?" "No. I keep to myself. I go to work and go home when I'm tired." "There was no CCTV where they assaulted you, so unless you have anything, we've no leads to pursue." "I'm sorry." She handed him a business card. "I understand. Thank you for coming to talk with me." Soon after, she left. That evening, Blake arrived. He sat down in a chair beside his bed. "Hi, Ed. Good to see you're awake." "I'm alive because of you. You called 911. "I discovered you lying face down on the sidewalk. I wasn't sure you were still alive. There was blood everywhere." "Well, you saved my life. I won't forget it." "I told them at work. Your job is waiting for you when you return. They're also putting more lights around the building and CCTV. That'll help with the next attack. Actually, some folks steal the cameras for their grow-ups, I hear." "They got Mark to pick up your project. They couldn't change the deadline. He said your notes were helpful." "Oh, good. I hope he'll finish it in time. That deadline was tight." "Well, it's not your problem anymore," Blake said with a grin. Ed wasn't sure if it was beneficial. Likely Mart would get all the credit or blame. Ed's contribution would be forgotten. A nurse entered his room to do the usual tests, writing the results on his chart. Blake used the opportunity and stood up to leave. Ed, I'll take my leave now. Don't worry about work. Call me if you need anything. I'll be released in a few days. I'll call you when I know more. Sure, he said. Then Blake left. A few days later, the doctor cleared Ed to leave the hospital. He called Blake to drive him home. Ed met him outside the front entrance. Hello, Ed. How are you feeling? Said Blake. Much better, thanks. Ed got in the car. His clothes had dried blood stains from the attack. On his head he had a white bandage. Blake handed some cash to Ed. Until you get your credit card sorted out, he said. Thanks. No worries. Blake started the car and they left the hospital. Soon they arrived at his apartment complex. Ed said goodbye to Blake, who left. He turned and walked to the supervisor's unit. After a brief talk, he got his new key. Ed opened the door to his apartment. After several days away, it had that smell from having the windows closed for days. He opened the windows, then sat on the sofa. That's when a ghost suddenly appeared in front of him. Hello, Ed, said the ghost. Ah, said Ed. If the ghost wasn't between him and the door, he would have bolted. The ghost was slightly transparent and Ed could see through him. Please calm down, Ed. I'm not here to do you harm. I need to talk to you. You do? Yes, I need your help, and I can help you too. This was new, and Ed did a double take. Huh? My name is or was Ian Ross. I was murdered. Ed pinched himself. Perhaps he was dreaming. What are you? Why are you here? I'm a ghost, the spirit of the late Ian Ross. You can call me Ian. But I can see you. I can see right through you. Yes, we can help each other because you can see and hear me. Huh? I still don't understand. I saw you when they attacked you. Something happened to you. I could sense something changed within you. Ed scratched his head carefully. I changed? I got hit on the head. Perhaps this is a symptom of my concussion. No. For a moment you died. At that point we connected. I felt a bond. A bond? Yes, that's why you can see me. So I died, and now I can see you? That's what I just said. Ed looked around the room for some kind of hologram projector. He didn't know anyone who might do this to him. This is a lot to take in. If this is a prank, it's a terrible time, said Ed. It's not a prank. I'm real. I'm here right now. And you want to help me? Asked Ed. I do. And I need your help too. I'm still trying to grasp that ghosts are real, and I have one in my apartment right now. Nice apartment, by the way. Don't drink the milk in the refrigerator, it's gone bad. In case you don't remember, I've been away. I remember, said the ghost. I saw you get mugged. You saw me? Yes. Then we connected. At that point I followed your attackers. Wow, this is beyond weird. I learned where they went. I can help you get your wallet back. As long as I don't get hit on the head again, I don't think I can survive another attack. Agreed. If you died for good, that wouldn't help anyone. Okay, what's next then? That evening, Ed and the ghost left the apartment. They travelled on foot, as he was without a car. His car was still in an impound yard. Ed caught the 5:32 bus northbound. The bus driver didn't see the ghost, nor did any of the passengers. They sat down in a vacant seat. "You best not talk to me here, or they'll think you've gone mad," said the ghost. Ed looked around at the other passengers. He smiled, thinking their opinions weren't that important to him. He looked at the ghost and nodded. Later, the ghost stood ready to get off. Ed followed him, and they were the only ones who exited at the next stop. Ed watched the bus drive away. "All right, what's next?" he asked. "They drove your car and dumped it a block from here." "Lead on." The ghost walked, or floated along, and Ed walked behind. He could guess why they left his car here. The street lights were few and no CCTV cameras. Soon they stopped. "They left your car here, but they took your wallet and went this way." The ghost pointed in a direction. Ed walked beside the ghost. "Is it much further?" asked Ed. He worried for his safety. He'd just survived one attack, and this area didn't seem too friendly. "Nearly there. I'll have to check they're in before we go inside." Ed stood on the sidewalk against the wall. The ghost floated through the wall and was gone. Ed had half a mind to leave and return home. He was unaware of what lay beyond that wall. Then the ghost's head popped out of the wall beside him. Ed jumped. "It's all clear, they're out." Ed looked at the ghost. "Oh, right. I forgot you can't get in this way." He stepped out of the wall and walked around a corner. Ed followed. The door to the building was unlocked. Ed eased it open. He didn't want to make a noise or alert anyone, despite the ghost's claim they were out. He was cautious. He followed the ghost through a couple of rooms. Then he saw a pile of wallets, keys, and phones. These villains had been busy. Too bad I didn't bring a flashlight," said Ed. "Perhaps use a phone." Ed picked up a phone. The battery was dead. He picked up another. This one lit up, so he used it to search the piles of booty. About 10 minutes later, he had his wallet, minus cash, and his phone. No keys, though. 2 out of 3, said the ghost. "Right. Now let's get out of here." They quietly exited the building into the street. Ed made a note of the address, intending to pass it on to the police. Then he and the ghost returned to the bus stop. As they waited at the dimly lit bus stop, Ed looked at the ghost. He had taken him to find his wallet and phone. He had the proof in his pocket. "Thank you, Ian," he said. Ian looked at him. "That's the first time you used my name," said Ian. "You delivered on your promise to help me." "Yes, I did, didn't I?" "And that means a lot. And you said you need my help?" "Yes, perhaps we can wait until we return to your apartment to discuss." "Of course, I don't want others to think me crazy," said Ed with a smile. He also wondered what he'd need to do to help this ghost. He had a limited set of skills. Soon the bus arrived and Ed climbed aboard for the return home. Back home, Ed was tired. It was past his bedtime. His head ached and he wanted to lie down. "Ian, I'm tired and I need some rest. Can we continue this in the morning?" "I'll be back tomorrow." "Too bad you can't bring breakfast with you," Ed said with a grin. "That's one thing I miss, a hearty breakfast." With that, the ghost disappeared. Ed went to his bed and was soon asleep. Outside Ed's apartment, the ghost wandered around as if on guard. He didn't need any sleep, and Ed was his only chance. He couldn't let something happen when he was this close. The next morning, Ed awoke. As his eyes focused, he discovered the ghost standing by the wall in his bedroom. "Whoa, are you here to haunt me?" "No, I'm here to continue our discussion." "Ian, please wait in the other room. I need to shower and change," said Ed. A few minutes later, Ed arrived in the living room. The ghost, Ian, was standing by the coffee maker. "I would have made you some coffee, but I have a problem." He waved his hand through the coffee maker. It passed right through. I see your problem. Let me handle it. Soon Ed had a pot of coffee brewing. So, Ian, please tell me what I can do to help you, said Ed. My business partner murdered me. He hid my body, so I'm listed as a missing person. I need help to bring my killer to justice. That sounds challenging. Tell me more. I recall finding some financial irregularities, so I took them to show my business partner, Sam Clifton. The next moment, he stabbed me from behind, then everything went black. That's about all I remember, said the ghost. And no one has discovered your body? No, or there'd be an investigation, I'm sure. Mary, my wife, suspects something. Without a body, I'm left without justice. So, we need to find your body and any other evidence that proves he killed you. Yes. You realize I'm not a detective. I have no skills in this area, said Ed. I understand that, but you're the only one who can see me. You're my one chance. I'll have to talk with your wife, visit the business, and maybe talk with your partner, Sam. Talk with Mary first, said Ian. Should I tell her about you? I'm not sure how she'd take it. You'd best say you knew me. That's hard to believe. We don't run in the same circles. Well, you figure something out. I can provide you with information to back it up. Okay, first I'll get my car out of impound. Then I'll need directions to your home. And that's the end of Chapter 1. In next episode we'll have Chapter 2. Ed talks to Mary, the wife of the late Ian.